Hello, welcome back to another video, and in today's video, we are starting episode 4 of the series. In today's video, we are going to be looking at the rise and fall of many nations. So stay tuned to see what happens at the very end. You're going to love the ending of today's episode. Now, let's get straight into the video. To start off, we are going to have a military revolution in Turkey. Now, over here, we have a military revolution. So, this little country right here has it's really safe. And then over here, the rise of criminals is becoming very high because of this country and this country and this country and this country, because they have an open border policy for some weird reason. They used it as a trade network, but now it is backfiring on them, and a bunch of criminals are smuggling in drugs and stuff like that. And then the narcos, excuse the background, just ignore it. So the military of this country has been infiltrated by the criminals, and they have made the military very, very strong, but also very, very corrupt. So what happens is this country gets very, very dark very, very quickly. They have become very dark, and it has been completely overrun by the military. Next thing that is going to happen is Russia. Yeah, let's talk about Russia for a moment. Russia over here has all this land that it wants to annex, and that is exactly what they are going to do. So let's get straight to it. Okay, they have completely annexed these areas. Now, I will clean this up later, but let's clean up this border real quick. Okay, I have fixed up the border over here. I also cleaned it up a little bit. Didn't clean it up completely. But now, simming forward, they have also explored much of these areas over here, and also discovered Alaska. They have discovered Alaska and met up with these explorers over here that now know that Russia is over here. Russia has finally found this area that we have discovered, and they're very happy. They're starting to figure out what this big body of land is, if it's just an island or if it's another huge continent or something like that. But next. Let's go to South Africa. South Africa is, well, completely going to split away from this country up here, and they are going to be a color like this, kind of like the Spaniards, just a little bit different. Going to be a little bit darker, and a little bit over here. Yeah, just a little bit darker. That's all. So now this is what they look like. They look very peachy brown in a way, you could say. But they have divided away from the former big Saudi Arabia team that has collapsed from last episode. And now, coming back to more of Africa, I'm going to snap my fingers, and these African teams and colonies have some say in what these new countries will look like. So let's get right to that. In a snap of my fingers, you will see the new countries. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay. These are the new borders. Don't judge me or anything like that, but these are some big countries to handle. However, these are being handled by the big governments of Africa. These are kind of like puppet states in a way. However, these are also independent countries as well, just being helped out by these other governments. Eventually, these massive diverse cultures will end up somehow clashing in the future and end up splitting apart. For now, they are very unified, and that's what it is so far. So now, on to the next thing. We have a new alliance coming to threads uniting a couple of countries together. Like over here, for instance, if we go to the Alliance tab, there is a new alliance called the COK, in which we are actually going to call it the COK and actually going to label it the COK. The COK, we're going to use the COK like that. Perfect. We got that right there. Now that is what the COK is going to look like. However, we're going to put this in China. Oceania as in O. You've got China as in C, who is going to be the founder of this alliance. And then you got Korea for the K. After this alliance is formed, they decide to expand. They're going to split it up among each other. Yeah, let's do that. Make our borders look good. So I will be right back when I fill in the rest of this, how they arrange it and everything. So in 3, 2, 1. This is the split up. This is how it's going to work. And back over here, before we move on to the next thing, the purple team will get the rest of this land over here. Time to put in the capitals real quick. I'll be right back. That's it. We have done the capitals now. So now let's get straight to the other stuff. After this Korean, or the COK alliance has been formed, we have the dark brown red team, this country right here, doing some indespicable thing. They are actually going to wage war on someone, as they are a monarchy. They are actually a make of a monarchy, a dictatorship, and fascism. As in, like, they're deeply rooted, like, we only love Muslims type of a thing. Like, it's racist and fascist at the same time. So, what happens is they're quickly able to disambers the original Saudi Arabian team. Very easily able to take them out. To clean this up real quick and get rid of they're actually going to take that capital. And now that we have that going on, let's go fix the capitals over here. So I will be right back. 3, 2, 1. Okay, these are the capitals now. We finally have the capitals in here. And well, back over to Russia. If you completely keep going over that way, we have Russia over here. And Russia decides to explore some more, when in reality they weren't really supposed to, mainly because they knew it would irritate the government of the black team, the Great Britain team. So they're able to discover Vancouver way down here and bits of Washington where I live. So they're able to discover that and discover parts and bits and pieces of this. Now, just to make it look better, I'm just gonna do that. Okay, now they have discovered quite a lot over here now, and they're also going to set some claims on Vancouver, and bits of Washington, and they're going to connect up to their Alaska. Now, the Great Britain team notices this, and they aren't very happy. But the thing is, Spain actually is happy because this benefits them. Because now they can colonize some other places rather than Africa. However, they don't do anything quite yet. So, after this whole thing happens, now back to Iran. The former leader of this country has been assassinated. And boy, oh boy, it is revealed that this team right here was the issue about it. And it is mainly focused on the part that the terrorists of this little Long Beach, whatever you want to call it, country, made a really dumb decision by letting somehow the terrorists were able to assassinate the leader of the Iranian team. And it's just very disappointing that they let it happen. And because of this, the new Iranian leader that is now in power decides to respond back, not knowing that they were terrorists. And they absolutely destroyed everyone here. They just annihilated it all. Genocide, you name it, any war crimes were used in this war. They did everything to destroy them completely, to never do it again. And they just decide to annex it. And they also decide to annex their other capital. So it's another trading capital in the sea. And so now, after this happened, and because of this country over here, we have a new treaty. This treaty is called, what is it called? It's called the Saudi Pact Alliance Defensive Treaty. Now this treaty, what this treaty does is makes an unofficial alliance between these countries over here. Now these countries are really in opposition of this. This is like another version of NATO. An attack on one of these countries, and that is an attack on all. So if this really, really dark brown and red team attacks one of these teams, they are attacking all of the Middle East, basically, or Saudi Arabia at least. And that wouldn't be very good for them, because it just wouldn't be good. It would cause a lot of chaos, a lot of wars, internal wars as well. And overall, it would just make Saudi Arabia in the Middle East even more diverse and very much controlled by the influences around them that aren't in Saudi Arabia. So they would be very split, very unstable, etc. So after that just happened, we have another alliance forming. But this time it's not an alliance forming, it is an alliance addition. So in this case, we have the Star of David alliance being added to Romania and in Greece over here, and as well in the Balkans. Now, why, you may ask? Well, these three countries are having a mediocre economy, and they want to build up their military a little bit to stop the threat of this little country over here, because, well, they have some tensions, political tensions as well, but the main reason is because of their economy. Their economy is doing quite well, but they haven't reached their fullest potential, which is exactly why they're joining this alliance. And after this alliance, there is a new war, a big war. This country right over here, the brownish reddish color alliance, this whole Middle Eastern NATO version once more, is being attacked once again. They start to attack over in the UAE region. They are going very well into the region, completely taking over so much land. They're not going to be able to take the capital immediately. However, they do have countries over here actually taking a stance, and they are able to completely take over quite a bit of land over here, since parts of it over here is mainly just a desert and no one's going to be able to get through here, which is why they're putting so much military over here, and eventually they'll gain back support over here once they distract them back over here by threatening the capital, in which they are able to threaten the capital, which it's very, very quick as well. And, well, the team decides, well, why don't we go have a peace treaty, you know? Let's have some peace. Come on. We don't want this war. We want to keep our old countries. We want to stay this way. We don't want to be united once again over one country. What happened last time was the past, and we don't want it anymore. And so what happens is that the treaty team decides to keep going, since this team will not accept defeat. This team finally pushes back quite a bit over here. They're going to be able to push back quite a lot, and completely able to push them out in the parts of the EUE region quite a bit and quite a lot. Not able to completely take them out of this area over here. However, the UAE team, or the rise of the century, Empire is able to push back quite a bit over here as well, pushing them back quite a lot, and threat is on the loom of a new Saudi Arabian empire, which seems to be looming quite often. And so what happens is that they decide to add some people to their alliance to help them. And so we have an outside party joining the alliance in hopes of continuing their efforts against this team. So we have this team over here who has been pretty neutral in most videos. However, this video they have not. And then we also have Pakistan joining. Pakistan. Yes, very surprising. I can tell that is very surprising. So now we have two other teams over here helping out. Now they decide to start pushing in. They're able to have a defensive front over here, maintaining a long border right up against the capital, trying to stay away from the capital, but also trying to negotiate a peace treaty. Of course, the green team isn't a big fan of war. They're more of a fan of peace talks, peace negotiations, so they're trying to at least threaten the capital, but not actually take the capital. So what they do is get closer and closer to the capital. They're trying to surround it, however, they are not able to. And surprisingly enough, they're able to hold out for a while. And they're also able to push back in over here because they are really focused on keeping them out of their capital, thinking that they're going to take over the capital, in which both of these other teams are able to completely dismantle this other team once more by pushing them out. They're able to push them out quite a lot. They're able to push them out of the UAE region once more, and they decide to, hey, let's talk with another peace deal. Let's just do a peace deal. And in this peace deal, the team that instigated the war in the first place is going to stay as it is. However, they are going to lose some land. Like, for instance, over here in this region, down here in the UAE, they're going to completely lose the UAE region. So they lose the UAE region as well as parts of the desert that nobody wants, which is why they're going to keep it. However, over here, they are able to annex this area over here, and as well this area as well. Now, this is what they look like now. However, this alliance has finally decided, hey, we are not going to abolish this pact, and we are going to make this pact into an official alliance, which as well means that the alliance wins. The pact team wins this war against the very aggressive, hostile brown-red team that is very fascist and a dictatorship that will eventually fall to the rims of society. Now, after this whole war happens, let's come back over towards the Americas, and as always, we have more and more and more and more expansion. So over here, able to push out even more, able to finally annex and colonize Louisiana and colonize the rest of Florida. However, there are some big problems within the government and their ethical ways of doing things. And so Florida, which is the one being unethically treated unfairly, decides, we don't really like this, and we're just going to try and do our own thing. And they're able to actually break away, which really is really good for them. It's another country that gets their freedoms to themselves. And let's just make sure that this color isn't taken real quick. Okay, the color is not taken. And furthermore, with Florida, for instance, eventually, when we zoom out a few years later, Florida goes even further to free the other colony, by which they move up towards their border, in which finally decide, hey, I see what they're doing to you, slaves, etc. You got white slaves, you got black slaves, all sorts of slaves. You got white slaves over from Great Britain that were sold to the Africans over here in Morocco, that then led to the Atlantic trade slave thing, whatever you want to call it. And so they're going to be attacked and freed. We got some areas over here down in DC being freed. You've got areas of Massachusetts, Maine, and multiple areas that are being freed, and there's a huge rebellion, a huge freedom fight for them, and eventually they are able to unite together as whole and as one. Now that they have been free, we have one other thing to cover. Because of this freedom fight, Morocco over here has become split. Got Morocco 1, and we got, you could say, North Morocco, and you could also say South Morocco, which are two different countries now. And from this also, I don't know what happened here, but these islands are going to be free. It's free and finally gets to be with the Spaniards that are very helpful. And that will be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you really liked today's video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I love you all. Have a good day. May God bless you. Peace.